Now, over the last few years, images like this have become somewhat familiar when we talk about police officers across the world. In the UK, Met Police Chief Sir Mark Rowley wants to see an end to it, he's saying. Black Lives Matter, Pride, those types of events, a range of other social and cultural issues. From now on, his officers will be told not to take the knee, to not fly rainbow flags or wear badges that support environmental causes. So is this a return to good old-fashioned policing, as some are suggesting, or is it a backward step to a time when the police were seen as enemies by some minorities and marginalised communities? Here to discuss all of this, former police officer of 31 years and director of the Law and Order Foundation, Norman Brennan. In Scotland, strategic advisor on equality, diversity and inclusion for Police Scotland, and former Haringey Police Commander Dr. Victor Olisa. And from Los Angeles, we're joined by former BLM activist Xavier de Rousseau to talk about this internationally as well. But I will begin with Norman here in the studio. Norman, you're a copper of the sort of traditional order, I think I can call you that, and you talk a lot about policing now. What do you make of this move to basically de-woke the police force?
Well, I fully support the Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley. The long and the short is that when you join the police service, you join to police all communities. You're there for everyone and everyone. There's nobody that you favour in part on one over another. That's why all police officers must act impartially. And we're told to police without fear or favour. So my main concern is that you should join the police service, wear your uniform, stand straight and strident, kneel to nobody, buckle to nobody, and the only time you kneel or buckle is when you're saving someone's life who's having a heart attack or someone that has been shot or stabbed and you're placing your hands over to try and save their lives. Apart from that, wear your uniform smart, the same uniform. I don't want to see police vehicles being painted all sorts of colours, and you certainly don't kneel down to anybody. And I think the few officers that did kneel, including one chief constable, will never be doing that again.
I just want to pick up that point you made about without fear or favour. I found that interesting because in journalism, we use that phrase a lot. Being a good journalist means doing so without fear or favour. But of course, journalists are biased. It gets pointed out a lot. Everyone has personal biases. Police officers on the job, they're professional, no doubt, many of them are, but they are going to have inbuilt biases depending on their upbringing or the way they feel about certain topics. So there have been complaints throughout decades of ethnic minorities saying that they felt that they weren't treated fairly by police officers. So do you think any kind of social justice causes helps that?
Well, to be quite honest with you, you say that. Many black people I deal with, I don't look at their colour. Yes, they are black. When I grew up in Wembley, I was known as the white black man. In my rugby team, there were 13 black players and 2 white players. So I grew up with the black community. I went to school with them and I policed with them, and I policed certain areas of London that were black. And do you know what? I policed without fear or favour. A black robber or a burglar at early hours of the morning stabbed me in the chest when I tried to arrest him for committing 3 armed burglaries. He didn't stab me because I was a white policeman. He stabbed me because he was trying to get away. I didn't arrest him because he was black. I arrested him because he was a robber. So I think all this stuff that we keep hearing in the media, that the police pick on black people or gay people or anybody else, there may be a handful, but I promise you this, you've probably got one of the best, but sadly the weakest police service that we've ever had, but they're the most tolerant we've ever had as well. And I'm afraid tolerance sometimes hasn't worked well in their favour.